Hello and greetings from a very sunny, very beautiful day here in the Loch Ness area of the Scottish Highlands. We've come up for a few days away from Northern England where we live, now that lockdown has eased enough to let us out, and the place that we've come to is a really self-contained cottage, so we can sort of look after ourselves, have as much or as little interaction as we want with other people, but mainly just to go somewhere different. Today's video, I want to talk about a 50 miler that a friend and I completed a week ago today. It was in celebration of his and my birthdays. His was a couple of days before and mine was the day after. I wanted to talk about how it went, show a couple of clips from during it, because let's just say it was a bit of a roller coaster ride and we had some pretty tough points in the middle of it, but spoiler alert, we got through it. It was really, really good. But I just wanted to share some thoughts and learnings actually from that long day out. Today as well, I'm going to go for a run locally around here. Using Strava's route planner was great in helping me pick out where people often run. And it looks like there's a pretty simple, if not fairly tough route along the Great Glen Way, which goes next to Loch Ness, but then away and up some of the more local peaks. And I am aiming for a peak I won't even attempt to say the name, but this is what it's called. I'm aiming for that certainly once, and if my legs feel good, we'll go up twice. So let's see how it goes. So we're now a couple of hours after that intro. Today's definitely a once up here kind of day. It's much hotter than I thought it would be. It's a pretty awesome view. That's Loch Ness there, but given its size, that's also Loch Ness down there. So a pretty awesome climb. It took about an hour to get from to here. I don't know if there'll be wind noise, apologies if there is. So we're going to head back down. Should be about 3 hours, 3.5 hours overall. But yeah, definitely once. Got a little no heroics saying, where basically I will act sensibly, don't want to run out of water. See you in a bit. So it's a couple of days since I made those introduction parts, including the run itself. Wanted to make the video whilst I was up in Scotland, but ended up just really wanting a break from work and any other stuff that I was doing, so I'll make it now that I'm back home. Those parts of the video that you saw earlier, I was in pretty good spirits, and that I suppose leads to the first thing to discuss with ultra running that I wanted to mention was the ups and downs, the roller coasters that I spoke about earlier. So this is a clip from about 28 miles into the 50 miler the other week, and you can see that we're in pretty high spirits. Hello, we are 28 miles in, which means this is Jack's first ever ultra. So no matter what happens now, if we crash and burn, which hopefully we won't. Oh yeah, baby bells, courtesy of Donna, one of them who, I think she lived off baby bells as much as I lived off cheer charge. So we've got 23 miles left, more or less. Feeling pretty good, worryingly good right now, so we're just waiting for the trough that comes after every single peak. But we'll see how it goes. Conversely, that can go downhill fairly fast, but also pretty inevitably, so you've got to be ready for it when it happens. 28 miles in, we were feeling great, like you saw. My friend Jack had just finished his first ultramarathon. Well, not finished, but he no matter what happened, he'd done an ultra. But a little bit later on, it did take a little turn for the worse, which you can see here. As foretold, that peak did not last very long.
Dying.
We are now just under 41 miles in. We've deviated slightly from the planned route because that was 51.6 miles. So we're going to go for 50, which to be fair was the goal anyway. And we'll let you know when we're done. But as mentioned, at the very beginning, we did finish it, we did get through, we pushed through the peaks and troughs. Well, didn't have to push through a peak, but did have to push through the troughs that we had. And this was the sort of end video that I'd sent to a group who are also training for the Cape Wrath Ultra that I'm supposed to be taking part in next year. It's all done, 50 miles. That's quite hard actually. The weather was pretty muggy, which didn't help, but pretty deep trough at the time I sent the second video. But got out of it, kept going. Legs felt really good. Painful obviously, and it was hard work, but generally I felt in control of them all the time. I felt like I was running well, so yeah, really pleased with how it went. So after all that, what did I actually learn from the 50 miler? I was having a think because I wasn't really sure how to articulate it very well, and usually I do decent thinking after a run, which is why I'm so sweaty right now. I learned a few things. So it's not the first ultra that I've done. I've done a couple actually, but you can still learn things, which is kind of what I enjoy so much about it. I learned, for example, when you saw that clip at 28 miles, the next sort of 3 miles that we did after that felt great. They felt really, really strong, and we kind of used that to our advantage, especially on the descents. And we had three or 4 miles where actually it was a really steady decline or descent, and we used that and we ran pretty strongly. That, I think, contributed quite substantially to the trough, as I keep calling it, that we felt not so long after that. So a really important lesson for me was when something feels good like that in an ultra, accept it and enjoy it, but don't try and capitalize on it, especially when you've got 6 hours left. Use it as a mental refresh to compare to the troughs. I keep saying it really is peaks and troughs. Other things that I learned, when I said, oh, I was really controlled and running well, what did I actually mean by that? Well, in some horrendous dog barking. In previous ultras, I've often felt pretty fragile by the end, understandably, but also in the way that I run. So, not really focused on my form, not being able to focus on my form. In this 50 miler, I felt really strong on that. I think Jack and I both ran pretty well throughout, especially towards the end. So that's what I'm really happy about. It was a really good test for my fitness. It didn't take me very long to recover compared to how I thought it might. A couple of days I was a bit sore but not stiff, and it bodes really well for a little challenge that I've got planned at the end of August. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. A little bit different. It's taken me a bit longer to make, which you might have been able to tell because I've got various bits pulling together. But hopefully this has given a little bit of an update and recap on the 50. If there are any questions, kit-wise or anything else, leave a comment. And I will do another video at the end of the month, if not before, to talk about the next challenge that I've got, which should be fun. See you soon.